the real secret to the law of attraction. Everybody who's been watching my channel for a while knows I'm a massive fan of the law of attraction. I truly believe in it. And, there's a lot of woo-woo stuff out there, that, you write down your goal on a card and all of a sudden it happens, or you think about your goal all the time and all of a sudden it happens. You just get breaks, people introduce themselves to you who can help you along your journey and stuff like that. And it's kind of metaphysical. It's kind of like stuff that, it's kind of hard to believe in. I believe actually in a lot of that stuff. But the fact is, there is a lot of practicality too. So here's one of the more practical angles. And I got it from a book called The Art of Living by Bob Proctor. Okay. I haven't quite finished the book yet. I'll probably do a review of it when I'm done. It's not really a book that he wrote. I think it's more of transcripts, okay, from seminars that he did, basically just speeches that he gave written down. So it doesn't read like a book. And it's not one of the best books I've read on the law of attraction. But there's one chapter that really just jumped out at me. And he started off by talking about a tribe in Africa that did a rain dance, and 100% of the time when they did this dance, it rained. And like I said, I believe in a lot of the woo-woo kind of crazy spiritual crap that goes on with the law of attraction. But even me, okay, even me being a law of attraction weirdo, I was like, okay, it's gotta be weird. There's no way that this really happens, until I read the chapter, gave it a chance. Okay, please give the law of attraction a chance, because I read the chapter, even though going in I wasn't gonna believe the crap he said. And what he said is they dance until it rains. Which, far from being woo-woo, is probably the most practical thing ever in the history of the universe. Okay? Like, it's going to rain. Okay? And when these guys started doing their rain dance, they would not stop until it rained. And that's their secret. Okay? So it kind of reminded me of how I got up to doing bar dips with 180 pounds, extra weight around my waist, for 2 sets of 5 reps. The last time that I did my lean bulk, when I came up with the whole idea of low carb lean bulking, okay, which is something that I've never seen anybody do in person ever. Okay, I've seen people do a few reps with 180 pounds. But, it's like a superhuman, kind of accomplishment, if I dare say so myself. And the way I got there was, I was pretty strong, okay? I did a lot of dips and stuff. And I did a lot of dips on rings, okay, which will cut your the amount of dips you can do in half. Okay, so if you do let's say 20 dips on bars, you do 10 dips on rings, just because it's twice as hard. So when I went to, starting to do bar dips with added weight, I had an advantage. It was kind of easy, but I started off with 45 pounds additional weight, which is 1/4 of 180 pounds. And I added on, 5 pounds, every time I worked out twice a week. And then I added on 2.5 pounds every time I worked out. And I just danced until it rained. And that's how I got up to 180 pounds, which is, like I said, is superhuman. You don't see a lot of people doing that. I ended up actually going to Amazon and getting a weight plate that was 1.25 pounds. Okay, there's a company, I think they call it Micro Gains, Gainz, where they make an affordable 1.25 pound plate, because most of them are used in Olympic level, world class level competitions. So they're specially grinded down, and they're, to the microgram perfect. These are just, basically, 1.25 pound plates, good enough for my use. And the thing is, I got up to a point where I was doing 115 pounds, and I got stuck. And I continued doing 115 pounds, I built it up to 125, 130, 135. And I just didn't give up. I lived basically to put one of these 1.25 pound plates on, around my waist, on that chain that I had around my waist when I was doing my dips. So what we're basically saying is especially a younger guy is what the hell is 1.25 pounds? Well, I'll tell you what 1.25 pounds is. If you work out dips twice a week and you add 1.25 pounds, Okay, it's not a whole lot for your body, you know. Like if I drink a glass of water, that's like adding a pound of weight, you know, to be doing my dips with. So it's not a whole lot, but 1.25 pounds twice a week is 2.5 pounds a week. 2.5 pounds a week over a month, okay, is, you know, is like, you know, 10 pounds a month. Okay, so that's actually quite a bit. So by adding 1.25 pounds around my waist every time that I could, and staying there, if you know, at least staying there, if not, you know, adding another 1.25 pounds over a period of, like I said, I built this 17 pounds of muscle in like 18 months. Okay, so it wasn't a whole lot of it was a lot of time. You know, I ended up dancing until it rains, doing dips until it rains, adding 1.25 pounds until I finally got up to 180 pounds. And like I said, if you're younger, I mean, it seems like it takes a long time. I don't want to wait, you know, a year and a half to do, you know, to do something like that. But at the end of the day, man, it's like I was like a 44-year-old guy doing dips with 180 pounds, which is like unheard of. And it doesn't matter how long I took to get there, you know, it does not matter. The point is that I got there, you know, and, you know, my thighs are kind of growing now. You know, my thighs are growing now. They're getting a little bit bigger, a little bit less embarrassing, a little, you know, they're finally like bigger than my huge ass calves. I'm the one person in the world whose calves are huge and their, you know, thighs are skinny. But you know, that's my plan too, to do 20 rep breathing squats, to do one set of 20 reps of squats with 315 pounds of 3 plates. And I'm going to do it by dancing until it rains. You know, I mean, I got up pretty close. I got up in the high 200s for 20 reps. And recently I kind of dropped down my weight a little bit, and I'm charging forward again. And I'm stronger than I've ever been. My quads are bigger than they've ever been. And I'm making more progress than I've ever made. And, you know, I'm putting on 2.5 pound plates on each side of the bar now. And what it's basically going to come down to is pretty soon I'm going to end up having to put on 1.25 pounds on each side of the bar. You know, and people kind of look at you weird when you take, you know, plates out of the gym like you're trying to steal something. And, you know, when you put these tiny little baby weights on, people are like, you know, why don't you put on a 5 or something? It's like, well, because I can't. But who gives a fuck? Because the fact of the matter is, you know, pretty soon, and soon for me is within a couple months, you know, like, let's say I take like 4 or 5 months to get up to, you know, 315. I've never seen somebody put 3 big plates on the bar, get underneath it, and do 20 reps. I've never seen it. Okay, you know, so what I'm basically trying to say is, like, a lot of the law of attraction is, you know, like woo-woo stuff. Like, if you do look for, you know, a way to make your dream come true, things will show up that will help you make your dream come true, which is true. But at the same time, a lot of it's just working your ass off. You know, a lot of it is just fucking, you know, if you want to lose weight and you have a little card written down with, you know, your perfect weight on it, or, you know, your perfect waist measurement, you look at it all the time and you're like obsessed with getting down to this weight or getting down to this waist measurement, you're not going to have a cheat day. You're not going to cheat on your diet. You're not going to skip your cardio. You're not going to, you know, drink soda instead of water, or whatever it is that, you know, that you need to do to get your to get to your goal. You're not going to do it. You're going to continue, and by continuing, you're going to make continuous progress. I mean, worst case scenario, if you're losing weight, you don't have a cheat day and gain back 5 or 10 pounds and regress. You know, if you know, worst case scenario, if you're trying to get your squat or your dips or your bench press or your curl or whatever it is, you're trying to get whatever strength up, worst case scenario, you don't skip workouts and you continue. You know, I mean, I talked about this recently, is that success isn't an overnight thing. It's like, it's faster than that. I mean, when I got up to like 90 pounds, 2 big 45-pound plates for my dips, people were thinking that I was like pretty strong, you know? When I got up to 135, people had never seen that before. You know, I'm not talking about being show off. I'm just talking about, like, I've achieved something and I still wasn't achieving my goal. So the thing is, like I said, it's like, basically what I'm saying is, if you know, really want something, if you really do write down, you know, your goal, if you do have your vision board of who you want to look like, or who you want to be strong like, or whatever your goal is, or the money you want to have, or the car you want to have, and you keep it in your, you know, in your head, in your focus, and you don't cheat, and you don't fucking, go off your budget if you're trying to save money. You don't, skip your homework if you're trying to get a medical degree or something like that. If you're trying to get stronger, you don't skip a workout. You do try to put on that 1.25 pound plate. And if you do that long enough, you will achieve something, and it may take forever. You may have to, quote, dance until it rains for months, but it will rain at some point. You may have to spend, 18 months to put on 17 pounds of muscle, which is a really, really long time. But you'll have put on 18 pounds of muscle. I'll tell you, when I, went from being lean, like 165, 170, to being like a lean, 185, 190, there was a massive difference in strength, in physical ability, in appearance, in health, and everything, and it was well worth waiting, so to speak, for a year and a half to get there. So, like I said, that's just something I'm probably going to go ahead and talk more about this book, and do like an actual book review of it when I finish it. But this one chapter really, was just so blatantly, stupidly obvious, but it was so obvious it's the kind of thing you don't, that everyone overlooks. How do I lose a lot of weight? Well, you just don't cheat, you just keep on your diet, and eventually you'll get there. How do I get stronger? It's like you keep trying to put on a tiny little bit of weight. You don't get discouraged if you can't put on 5 pounds. You jump for joy if you put on 1 pound. As a matter of fact, at one point I was trying to get like a 3/4 pound or a 1/2 pound weight to see if I could continue with that. So, like I said, the difference between somebody who's a success over a long period of time and the difference between somebody who's a failure over a long period of time is the person who's a success enjoys the process and is excited about every single tiny little bit of progress he makes. I've said this before, if you're obese and you go from being obese to overweight, if you go from overweight to normal, if you go from being normal to fit, if you go from being fit to athletic, and athletic to, to being ripped, it's not like you're obese and then you wake up and you're ripped. It's like, for a medically obese person to go and be overweight is a huge, huge step forward. And it's a huge, huge accomplishment. He should, he'll be a completely different person. Physically, his self-esteem, the way people look at him, the way people, treat him, it will be completely different. So, like I said, there's dance until it rains. Yeah, it may take longer for you to get to your level of strength or leanness or muscularity or whatever, wealth, to get your degree, whatever. It might take you twice as long to get your medical degree as somebody who's a trust fund baby and they have, they're lucky, so to speak. They have they're more fortunate to have a better place to start from. But the fact of the matter is, even if it takes you twice as long to get your medical degree, they're still going to call you doctor. So that's it for today. Dance until it rains. And if you're looking for a diet that will get you wherever you want to go, whether you're putting on strength and muscle or you're cutting down fat while maintaining your strength and your muscle, go ahead and check out Low Carb Cutting and Bulking. There are 4 diets in there, 2 for cutting, 2 for bulking. And if you stick to them long enough, okay, and if you commit yourself to being happy along the way for every little bit of progress you have, and you maintain your enthusiasm and you maintain your motivation, the diets in Low Carb Cutting and Bulking will get you wherever you want to go. All right. If you're watching this on Instagram, go ahead and click on the link in my profile, Low Carb Cutting and Bulking. And if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, click on the link below the video. And not only will you see, the information about the different diets, but you'll see me lifting weights that these days is a lot less than I lift, but back in the day was more than I ever dreamed of lifting. And you also see the DEXA scan where I gained 18 pounds of muscle. A year and a half, but I gained the 18 pounds of muscle. I had 10.2% body fat at the end. Leaner than most people have ever been, and it was at the end of a bulk. Low Carb Cutting and Bulking. Check out the links. See you guys in the next video.